Not necessarily to Milty's talk, but good morning. I kind of believe that drunks just make up reasons to have parties. And I think that's the party was made and then they put a tag on it. And that's Milty, who's going to give this talk. And it's really not much. I'm not going to teach anything you don't know. You're going to say, I've heard all of that. And it's all true. It's just, that's the whole idea, just background, was that I was losing so many guys. I mean, they just couldn't, they wouldn't, they didn't, and I just, something's got to be done. And in this prayer and meditation come up this simple approach. I call it the dumb guy approach, but it's nothing more than the directions. That's all it is. We just stay with the directions. If there's any questions at all, ask them right away. It's not rude. It's not rude to interrupt here today. If I miss anything in directions, don't hesitate to say, wait a minute, okay? Because nothing I do is like intelligent. It's not like written in stone. It's nothing. I never thought it would ever go anywhere but halfway houses and drunk tanks and stuff like that. That was the whole idea of it all. Did you get to that? No? Yes? Maybe? Any questions so far? Nothing? Okay. This is the book. We just stay with this book. That's all we do. We don't do nothing else but this book. Not 12 and 12. Not even they said or I heard. And if anything, this can be many things. It can be informative. Mostly it's a bullshit sifter. We just kind of sift through everything you've heard. And here's the facts, because that's all we're going to do is just the facts. Not even opinions. It's about as prepared as I can be. If I was working with a new guy, and that's the whole idea of what we're talking about here is working with somebody, helping somebody. The first thing I would do would give him this book. That's the first thing I would do is give him this book. Well, why would I do that? No idea. So he would read it. What? The instruction manual. See? Now if I go to page 95, here's what it says on 95, and I know that page because I read it this morning. If he's sincerely interested and wants to see you again, ask him to read this book. That's all we did. That's why we do that, because this book says to have him read this book. In the 12th chapter is working with others. So if I ask him to read this book, then I'm just following the directions that are in this book. Does that make sense? And then after doing so, he must decide for himself whether he wants to go on. That's all it is. It's that. Here's the program. Do you want this? That's the idea behind it, is that it's their decision. And then it says this on page 96. Suppose now you're making your second visit to a man. Second visit. A week, 5 days, 3 days, 2 days. It says this: he has read this volume and he's prepared to go through with a 12-step program of recovery. Not he's prepared to stop drinking. Not he's prepared to go to meetings. Not he's prepared to shut up and listen and follow every direction you give him. It's that he is prepared to go through with the 12-step program of recovery. Recovery. And then it says, having had the experience yourself, you can give him much practical advice. About what? 12 steps. That's exactly right. The 12 steps. Because we have had the experience ourselves. We've worked these steps. And then it says, I let him know I'm available if he wishes to make a decision. Step 3. If he wishes to do the third step, then I can do that with him. Or tell his story, which is step 5. So that's my responsibility, and that's really where we start right now, is that I would give every man that I would work with the book and say, here's the book, read the first 103 pages and see if this is what you want. It's your decision. Now, before we do anything, what should we always do? What do you think? Pray. Say pray. Pray. Yes! Got to open our minds, open our hearts, and open our souls so that we might see what you have for us today and we might pass that on to others. Amen. Okay, any questions so far? Nothing. Okay. If you got a book, let's go to page 58. If you got a book, 58. Middle of the page, second paragraph. Our stories, you got it? Yes? No? Our stories are disclosed in a general way, or what we were like, what happened, what we're like now. And here's what it says to the person reading this book. If you have decided you want what we have, now who might that person, whose decision is that? It's ours. It's always our decision. It's our decision. If you want what we have, how do they know? How do they know what we have?
By looking at it.
That's right. They have read the book. How do we know that? Because we gave them the book. Just following directions in the 12th step, right? Yeah? Yes? Nothing. You already know this, see? This is not like real. I told you it's not intelligent. Don't expect you with high expectations here today. So if they decide they want what we have, and then it says they're willing to go to any lengths to get it, and they know what the lengths are because they've already been informed, because they read the book, it says then they're ready to take certain steps. And once again, it doesn't say they're ready to go to certain meetings. Would you want to stay sober? Yeah, you're ready to do anything, then shut up and listen. Sit down here, shut up and listen. No. What it says is that if you want what we have ready to go to the next again, then you're ready to take certain steps. And this is our second visit on the new guy, ain't it? Second visit. We read that. Not making any of this up. Well, we might make stuff up later, but right now, we got facts. And then on page 59, it says to make things even clearer, here are the steps we took. It's not like, what steps do they mean? It says, here are the steps we took. Any questions? Okay. Let's go to page 60. 60. I told you this was that's why they call it the dumb guy. You all know this. This is nothing new. We're not enlightening you or enhancing you with any oral. I didn't know that was in there. That's not, you know what I mean? It's not, I don't get it. Middle of the paragraph. Our description of the alcoholic. What chapter is that in? First 4 chapters, right? Chapter to agnostic. First 4 chapters again. Personal adventures before and after. Bill's story, first 4 chapters. Throughout the whole book is personal adventures before and after. Make clear 3 pertinent ideas. This is just ideas. And the 3 pertinent ideas are this. A, that we're alcoholic, could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. C, that God could and would if he were sought. Now these are 3 pertinent ideas that are the first 4 chapters. That is the first 4 chapters. There's no directions to recovery in the first 4 chapters. It's 3 pertinent ideas that we got to be convinced of. And then it says if we're convinced of that, the next line down is we're at step 3. So the first 2 steps are ideas. Just ideas. That's all that is. There's no writing. And now I strongly suggest that we read this. I mean this. Every word in the big book. Read every word. Especially the new guy, I would recommend you read every word. But we're just going to do directions today. Okay? Just directions. Not every word. But you should read word. You should read it, the whole thing. The whole thing. We're not making light of any of it. All of it's very important. So the first 2 steps are just ideas. A, that we're alcoholic, cannot manage our own lives. Well, and I ask you this question, really. Do you really need to read the first 4 chapters to be convinced of that? No. You're good. I like you stay with me. Stay right here. Don't leave my side. No, you don't need to do that. There be no human power, probably no human power could have relieved your alcoholism. Do you need to read the first 4 chapters for that? I don't think so. Let's see, God couldn't would if he were sought. Good indication, but we'll see. Cannot manage your own lives. Alcoholic. if we're all alcoholics, right? We agree with that? Yes? Yes? Yeah, no problem at all. Then if I admit to having alcoholism, I guess I gotta know what I got. You an alcoholic? Yeah. How do you know? Judge. Well, okay, I believe that. My sponsor, they told me at Alcoholic Services. How much did that cost you? $350. Well, okay. I ain't got no problem with all of that. But if I got a disease, a sickness, an illness, a malady called alcoholism, I guess I should know what it is. Symptoms of alcoholism. What do you think? Give me a symptom of alcoholism. Drinking uncontrollably. Big symptom of alcoholism. Blackouts. Symptom of alcoholism. Insanity. Yeah. Well, sure. How about cops? Jails. Divorce. Lots of jobs. Huh? What do you think? Yes? No? Maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe.
Huh? Death? Well, we would need the book then. Well, do you think only alcoholics get divorced? How about do only alcoholics go to jail? How about do only alcoholics die? Well, according to the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and this is in the doctor's opinion, XXXVI, here's what it says, so we can clear this up real easily. We believe it is so suggested that a few years ago that the action of alcoholic on a chronic alcoholic is a manifestation of an allergy, that the phenomenon of craving is limited to this class and never occurs in the average temperate drinker. So if you've ever had the phenomenon of craving, then what are you? Alcoholic. See what I mean? It's simple as that. If you've ever had the phenomenon of craving, then it's ollie. And if we pick up the book, we're just stuck enough drinking. Any questions? Nothing. Okay. That's pretty simple, ain't it? So if you've ever had the phenomenon of craving, the hard part about the phenomenon of craving, I believe, is identifying it. But once you can identify the phenomenon of craving, then if you believe what this doctor says, and this is a big-time shoot-a-dime doctor. I mean, this is not a dentist or something. It says, this guy's got credentials. It says he's a well-known doctor, chief physician at a nationally prominent hospital specializing in alcohol and drug addiction. This is a big-time shoot-a-dime guy. Well, chief physician. So this is not a podiatrist. This guy don't deliver babies. I mean, this guy is you know what I'm saying. Guy's got credentials, see. So, and he's saying if you've ever had the phenomenon of craving, then you're alcoholic. And when it comes down to if we're alcoholic, could not manage our own lives, how are we going to know if we're alcoholic? How are we going to know if we got the phenomenon of craving? That's as simple as it is, isn't it? And the big book says if you're not sure that you're alcoholic, now it's the first 4 chapters, there's no directions in this except to lead you to this point, you see? If we're convinced, this book will convince us. And if we're not convinced, then the book says to what? No, the book don't say to drink, it says take the test. The test is to drink. That's the difference. Every alcoholic who comes in AA and leaves drinks, but they don't learn anything from that. It's a test. We're going to take the test. Start drinking and quit abruptly. Well, what does that mean? If I'm not sure I'm an alcoholic, I got a little problem, I don't know, things are going on. Well, if you're not sure you're alcoholic, read the first 4 chapters. If you're still not sure, then just go start to control drinking. It's Friday. Here we are on this cruise, this wonderful cruise. If you're not sure you're alcoholic, then tonight, at dinner, when they say, do you want anything from the bar? Here you are, all decked out. You got your new Levi's on, huh? Got all your little golden jewelry on. You know what I'm saying? Give me what? A what? A Jack Daniels. I like this guy. This guy. Bourbon. And the Jack Daniels on the rocks. Now this is at 8 o'clock, right? Ain't that our dinner time at 8 o'clock? And we're going to drink as much as we want because you have to pay for the shit. Just give them the card. Hell, it's like having a tab. How did I get so high? Oh, you just kept drinking. And quit by 11:45. So drink as much as you want, but quit by 11:45 so that we can watch the news at 11 o'clock. You understand? Want another drink? Nope, got to go watch the news. You understand? Can you do that?
Not me.
Can you do that? How do you know? How do you know you can't do this? What? That's right. Our past has proven. Our past has proven that we cannot do that. All we need to do is to look at the past with any amount of honesty, and we can see that, no, I can't do that. I tried that in the past. Get the check. I'm going to have one. I'll be home. Get a fifth of whiskey. 30 shot glasses. 30 shot glasses. Fill them up. You can see this. Can't you see that? You've seen him do it many times, huh? Huh? Yeah, that dog. So you fill up 30 shot glasses, and we're going to drink 1 shot of whiskey a day. We have a whole month of drinking right here. Right? No, wait, not just 1 a day, not none for the next week and then 7 or 9 at once. Not 1 here and then 10 at somewhere else. Just to find out if what? If we have the phenomenon of craving. Because if you can identify that once you take a drink, I'm going to continue to drink even though I don't want to, then you can understand that you have something that only alcoholics have, phenomenon of craving. It's 1 a day. 1 a day. And we've already agreed, right, that we can't do that. Does that make sense? That we were alcoholic. That's it. We just admitted that freely, and we didn't even have to take a drink, did we? Didn't even have to take a drink. That was the second part to that we could not manage our own life. Obviously, if we're here, we haven't been doing a bang-up job. Does that make sense? See, now to see how hard that is to explain to you, of course we're doing a great job. Of course we're doing wonderful. Not perfect, but very well. So this is like for the new guy, sitting in that halfway house. I don't know if I got it or not. Well, why are you here? It's her fault. Well, that might be true. But if you can see that you're not doing such a bang-up job, then you've just admitted A. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. Let's say your mother just won a new car. A new what?
Cadillac.
A new Cadillac. What color?
Oh, white.
A new white Cadillac. And she's going to give it to you. New Cadillac. White Cadillac. You already know you cannot safely take the first drink, right? We just admitted that, right? Right? Got a new Cadillac. Full tank of gas?
Sure.
You're going to give me this car. This is my car now. Now I got a new car. Full tank of gas. Can I now safely take the first drink? Not can I take it, but can I safely take the first drink without the phenomenon of craving taking place? That's the question. Can I safely take it? So intelligently sit in a rational mind, sitting right here. Can I safely take the first drink now that I got a new car? Okay. Your brother just hit the lottery. $15 million. And he's going to split it right down the middle with you. You get $3 million. So here I am, got a new car, full tank of gas, and if you're a hillbilly, a pickup truck, whatever you want. You see what I'm saying? You got $3 million. He brings in hefty bags, filled. Them double super hefty bags. Puts it down, $3 million. Whoa, huh? What do you think? Can you now safely take the first drink? $3 million. Now, do you want a drink? I didn't ask that. I didn't ask, in your intelligent, rational, sane, sober mind, can you now put $3 million in a brand new Cadillac, take a drink of whiskey, and not get the phenomenon of craving, not get the allergy? Intelligently. No human power. Okay, let's say Lonnie Anderson calls. She's free now. You know, she dumped a guy. And she does like bald-headed men. I want to say this again. So here you are. New Cadillac. Burt Reynolds. New Cadillac. $3 million. Lonnie Anderson walks in and says, sit right here, big boy, right on my lap. And do anything you want to do to me. And I'll never leave you. I'll love you forever. Can you now safely take the first drink without developing the phenomenon of craving?
Sounds like I already took it.
Can you now safely take the first... Now, I didn't ask if you wanted to. I asked, could you now, you see? I'll tell you what amazes me now. Like I said, this is strictly... it amazes me I still haven't used that dirty language that I used at Dim Halfway Houses. It amazes me that you get a job for $3 an hour, a piece of shit Chevy from 1978, and some broad with no teeth, and you think now that you don't have to do anything about these steps. I'm in love, and I got a paycheck, and $2 worth of gas in the car, and I don't have to do anything else. And your past has already proven that none of that works, does it? We convinced to be no human power, no matter what we got. What could we get? What could be given to us on this earth that would allow us to safely take the first drink? If you're alcoholic. Now, we admitted that. What could you possibly have on the face of this earth that would allow you to take the first drink safely? Safely. Nothing. Are you convinced that no human power could have relieved your alcoholism? It's nothing more difficult than that. See the guy couldn't would. How are we going to convince the new guy to see? 2 ways. One, read the first 4 chapters and the personal adventures before and after. And 2, us telling them our story, personal identification. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? What do you think? Personal identification, very important part of us sharing with the new man. Sharing with the new man. If I were to take if I were to take a program, a 12-step program of to the cancer ward, if I was to walk into the cancer ward and say to them, I have 12 steps that will enable you to recover from your deadly disease, what do you think they would say? They'd say, get the hell out of here. That's what they would say. But if I was a cancer patient who had recovered from cancer, what do you think they would say? Yeah, then they would line up. Because I would have recovered from the disease, the illness, the malady that's killing them. And that's the whole idea behind alcoholism, that I have a personal story that identifies with them and they identify with me. And they'll line up. They'll line up. Court slips and all, they'll line up. Broken families and all, they'll line up. Line up. And then, after they read this book, which is the first thing, right? They can say, yes, I'll do this, or no, I won't. The choice is always theirs. It's always theirs. On page 60, middle of the page, be convinced. God couldn't would if he were sought. We convince him with our stories in the first 4 chapters of this book. Any questions? Be convinced of these 3 pertinent ideas. We're at step 3. Now here's the directions for step 3. Now please, and I beg you, read everything. I see how you guys have already read this stuff. I can't give you anything new. I can't. It's not for. It's for the losers, the guys who can't get it, who don't get it, who don't understand it. Those guys, the guys that break your heart. Those guys. Those guys. Being convinced, we are at step 3. Step 3. Here's what it says in the directions. Page 60, bottom of the page, last paragraph. The first requirement going into step 3 is that we can be convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. And then they give you all sorts of 2 pages of how we try to run our own lives on self-will. Being kind, being nice, being sweet, being cute, slapping them in the mouth. It doesn't even matter. We're going to get what we want to get the way we want to get it. There's nothing more difficult than that. So if you are convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success, and once again, the best monitor we have of that is our past. It's the best monitor we have of that is what we have already done. Our failures are going to be our greatest successes. They're going to be the greatest point of growth is in our failure. How many times you heard it? No pain, no gain. I mean, everybody's picked that up now. When alcoholics, it's an absolute truism, not a necessaryism, but truism, because our past is our most valuable asset. So if you're convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success, then we go to page 62 at the bottom of the page. And it says this. This is the how and the why of it. First of all, we had to quit playing God. Now, this is a requirement. This is a specific direction. First of all, we have to quit playing God. Now, why? Why do you think we should quit playing God? Why should we have to quit playing God? It didn't work.
It didn't work.
That's right. That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, if we read one more line, there it says there, it didn't work. Didn't work. Next 2-3 words. It didn't work. If it would work, we wouldn't be here, would we? If it would work, we wouldn't be in the kind of jackpots and situations we're in. If we could manage well without the power of God, without any other power, just manage ourselves, we wouldn't have the kind of trouble and chaos that we're in. And all of these stories that we have in this book stress that over and over and over again. So now, if we're convinced of those 3 pertinent ideas, if we are convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success, if we are convinced that we're ready to quit playing God, here's what it says. Page 63. We are now at step 3. Now, I beg you, please read everything in between. I beg you, please. We're only doing the directions. We're cutting right through everything, all of the important stuff, to get right to the directions, so we can get out of here before the cruise is over. If we could do this in the penitentiary, this meeting could go on forever, ain't it? Yeah. Hey, man, shit, I hear the shuffleboard calling me. Yeah, well, Many of us said to our Maker, as we understood Him. Now, if you notice anything at all, squiggly writing. Squiggly writing. If you ever see squiggly writing in a big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it means very important. Pay attention, like neon or something. As we understood Him. As we understood Him. That means that we have an understanding of God. Going into this step, you and I understand God. Something about God. Some sort of understanding about God. There have been a discussion group, and they say, the topic today is God as we understand Him. Well, I don't understand God. I don't understand God, and I understand. Well, this book says you gotta. You're supposed to say, going into this step, you gotta. Some sort of understanding. That's why we agnostics is so important. They stress that in there. Read that. Any kind of understanding. If you can just, if you're a believer, at least willing to believe, it's all in for you. You made a good start. Good start somewhere along the line. Squiggly writing. Understood Him. Understood Him. I went to work on Monday and opened my lunchbox, and I got bologna sandwiches. And I go to work on Tuesday and open my lunchbox, and I got bologna sandwiches. And I go to work on Wednesday and open my lunchbox. What do you think I got? Bologna sandwiches. And I said, man, I hate this bologna. And the Italian guy next to me said, hey, why don't you have your old lady pack you something else? And I say, I ain't married. I pack my own lunch. See, the important thing is that we have a lunch. What we put into it is to us, isn't it? The important thing is we have a God. What we put into that God is ours. It doesn't matter. It's hard to say I don't believe when you create the force. It's when you create the idea. It's when you come up with whatever the force is. You can't say I don't believe in that, because if you don't believe in it, well then make something else up. The idea is that you have some sort of power that you believe in. You can make it anything you want. Chinese. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I've heard guys make groups, their home group, their power greater than themselves. Trees, Jesus, it does cows. It doesn't matter. It's yours. Just so you have a God as you understand Him. And no matter how elementary that belief might be, it will change. It will change just so you have something in that I am not God, and this is what God is. And we understand Him. God, I offer myself to Thee. This is the third step prayer. Once again, the third step is nothing more than an idea. That's all it is. An idea that's transmitted into a prayer. That's it. That's it. God, I offer myself to Thee. How do we know that? Because that's what we just read, isn't it? It's no writing. It's change of our thinking, our ideas. First three steps. This is the prayer. God, I offer myself to Thee. Now you can make any prayer up you want, as long as it expresses these ideas. God, I offer myself to Thee to build and do with me as Thou wilt. That means simply this. I ain't going to be God. I ain't going to be the director. I ain't going to be the boss. I ain't going to be managing and running. I'm going to give myself to this power, this infinite power, the one that makes the sun come up, the sun go down, the one that, whatever belief you have is, I'm going to give myself to Him so that He can build something with me, because I ain't been doing a bang-up job. I ain't been doing such a good job. To build with me as Thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self. Now, if we've read this book, and hopefully, see what I mean? Of course we have here. Of course we have. We understand that selfishness and self-centered, the manifestations of self, are the root of our trouble. Then if we could get rid of this self, this trouble that we have, we would have a long time ago. And obviously we're not powerful enough, so we're going to ask God to do this, our newfound friend, God. Relieve me of the bondage of self, so that simply we can better do His will. And we're going to try to get everything we can out of the way that's going to prevent us from doing God's will. That's all we're doing here, is trying to get close to this power of God so that we can do His will. Take away my difficulties, that victory, take away my difficult. You know, Sears and Roebuck has 2,747 stores in the continental United States, but they cannot take away your difficulties. They can fix your lawn motor, but they can't take away your difficulties. Take away difficulties. So we're going to ask God to do this. Take away my difficulties so that I can be happy, joyous, free. Hip, slick, cool, cute. No. That I be a aware witness to those I would help. So when I ask God, this is my deal with God, to take away my difficulties, I am saying that if you do this for me, I will serve you. I will be a living testimony to your power. Bear witness, it says, to help Thy power, Thy love, and Thy way of life. And we want to do His will always. Simple as that. Nothing more difficult than that. That's what we want. He's kept His end of the bargain for me for over 26 years. And I can tell you honestly, I come nowhere near keeping my end of the bargain with Him. But God, I got it. It's just like not too tense, you know. Hey, you're just a little kid. You make a lot of mistakes. They should write that in a book. We are not saints. The point is, we're willing to grow along spiritual lines. Write that down. Send it to New York. Call them guys in California. They got pull. Take away my... Oh. You're all from California. Oh, where are you from? Oh, thank God. Huh? So, thank God. Hey, we can't go west of that Mississippi, boy. They get funny out there. Whew, we're safe. Any questions on step 3? Now, yeah.
Sometimes I do step 3, take away my difficulties, and I'll do this and then, or my will, I give you my will, but now I think I want to take it back again. And
Yeah. What's the question?
Well, the question is what do you say to people who say that to you? I take it back. Who keep wanting to take it back?
I don't say nothing. If you have a 10th and 11th step, you'll know exactly what you're supposed to do. And by the way, if you have a 10th and 11th step, you'll know that they make allowances for that. Then none of us are perfect. They should put this in there too. We're going to go through a very long, hard path in life. How should they say that? Make it say it a better way. Trudge the road. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll trudge the road. We're just human beings. That's all we're going to do. We're looking for some spiritual progress. If you don't do exactly what God wants you to do, then in our 11th step and when we get there, we're going to ask God for forgiveness. I mean, it tells us that. They already know that we're going to... They already know that we ain't saints. Okay? They already know that. We're not expected to be. We're not expected to be. It's expected that we will continue to grow spiritually. That's all that's expected. That's all that's expected. Does that answer your question? Yeah, I wouldn't tell you anything except we'll finish the rest of the steps. This is not a one step a year process. I've heard that one too. We're not going to do that. Here's what it says. It says, the next line. If you too? Is that what you said? Me too? I've heard that. Boy, do one step a year. And this book says on your second visit, let's start these steps. Oh, who am I going to believe? Them or this stupid book? Bullshit sifter. We sift out what's fact and what's bullshit. So it says this. We thought well before taking this step, making sure that we were ready. And that once again, it's our decision. It's our decision. And we're going to think, well, it's our decision to work ready, that we can last abandon ourselves utterly to Him. And here's what we would do. And I know this is like not necessary, but I would say, is anybody here ready? Anybody here ready? And we would all kneel down. I know if you ever been in a bunch of convicts and liars and thieves, well, they're all in AA meetings, but I mean, guys that we kneel down. I mean, we just do that. Almost like. It says this, and this is a set of directions. We found it very desirable to take this spiritual step with an understanding person. And as a sponsor, as your sponsor, we've already read this direction on that 12th step, right? That I offer myself to do this with you. I'm offering for you to make a decision because I've had this experience, but I by no means insist upon it. And that's what it says. It says, such as our wife, best friend, or spiritual advisor, and I believe that there's no one more suitable than the other members of Alcoholics Anonymous. I just say that from my own experience. There's no one more suitable. Yeah, just what I'm saying? No, that's just from my own experience. Yeah.
You didn't talk too much about the first paragraph in this chapter because the word honesty is very clearly that this program demands rigorous honesty.
Absolutely. And this is the problem with doing the dumb guy approach, is that we're going to have to miss so much. There's so much important stuff, and it's a sin. It's a sin that we don't have 10 or 12 hours to just sit down and do this, and then you get bored and you get pissed and you get antsy and you say, I don't put up with this shit. You know what I'm saying? You're right. You're absolutely. We were going to miss a ton of things, but we're only going to try to do the directions. Does that make sense? Just the directions. You're absolutely right. It breaks my heart to have to pass up so much interesting, especially when you get to 9. It covers every situation you can imagine. 12, every situation is fine. But we can't cover all of that. We just try to stay with the simple, clear-cut directions that anybody could understand. Dumb guy. Oh, well, I can do that. I know you can do that. Okay, is that explained? I agree with you. I'm sorry that we can't do all of that. So it says that we found it very desirable to understanding why somebody, of course, quite optional, express the idea for ourselves of great effect sometimes at once. Sometimes you feel it and sometimes you don't. The important thing that we're going to do is that we're feeling might not ever play a part in this. But intelligently, we want you to know you are doing exactly what it says to do, and it means you get the results. Does that make sense? Even understanding isn't important until step 10. We're going to just do the result. We're going to do the directions. I mean, if I'm baking a cake, if I'm baking a pie, pineapple upside down cake. Now, what would you say? Well, that doesn't upside down. That ain't a cake. It doesn't. You can't have the top on the bottom. But if you follow the directions, you see, understanding isn't even important, is it? It doesn't even you don't have to understand how the top can be on the bottom. I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense. Well, that's true, But if you put these ingredients in, then you can get what the cake. Yeah, okay, I got it now. But wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, the top on the bottom and the bottom on the top really doesn't make sense. But if you follow the directions, you're going to get what? Good cake. That's right, good cake. So we put all the ingredients and mix it up, we put it all together, and what do you get? Absolutely, a perfect upside. What do we do with it? No, you pass it on. You give it away, this thing. Everything we build, we don't keep, we give away. Everything. So did I walk you into that? You had such a nice bathing suit on yesterday. You could, what up? That was a suit. Never get lost at sea in that sucker. That was a beautiful. Well, I like. You seen that one I had? Electric yellow. Don't mistake me for no whale. Okay. Any questions so far? Now we are done with step 3. And what's funny is, we have done step 3 up to 1, 2, and 3 and a half an hour in it. Because there really is no recovery if you stop here. There's no recovery if you stop here. What kind of recovery have we got so far? Can't stop here. So we'll go right on to step 4. Now there's another dilemma here a lot of times. Not with you guys, see that? Not with you guys. How long after you do step 3 before you go into step 4? I mean, honest to God, I've heard it say, wait a year. You're too sick to get well. I've heard it 1 step a year. We both heard that one. I mean, you hear, what we're trying to do is eliminate a lot of the smoke and mirrors and just go with the facts. If we go to page 64, here's what it says. It says, though our decision, top of 64, was a vital and crucial step. What decision? Step 3. Vital and crucial step. It would have little permanent lasting effects unless at once. So when you're done with step 3, you at once go to step 4. And here's what it says. I'm going to tell you something. Everybody here has heard of the ripple effect. You drop a stone in the water and it ripples out. Do they have water Niles? Yeah, ripple effect. That's what we have here. You might not see where it's going to end, but I solemnly assure you that once we drop this step 4, once we start looking, it just spreads out throughout our entire lives in areas we couldn't even imagine. So let's keep that in mind, okay? Step 4. What's the root of our trouble? Selfishness is... I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, I still can't hear you. That is the woman of my dreams. Taking you home with me. So selfishness is self. So how do we know that? By the way, how do we know that? Because the book says so. Okay, book says so. If selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of our problem, then it says from that feeds. Now they got a word in here they use called manifestation. Manifestation. It's going to be a very important part in our whole program. It's the word manifestation, the ripple effect. Later on down the line, manifestation. I have a lot of these guys, by the way, bodybuilders, weightlifters. They lift all these weights and they do all these exercises, and we don't see them do exercises, and we don't see. What do we see? They have muscles. That's exactly right. We see the manifestation of that hard work in the muscles. Manifestation. So if you ever look at a guy who's got muscles, what do you really know for sure? That he's done a lot of hard work. And that's a manifestation. So when we look now, we're going to start identifying resentment and fear and selfishness, not in that form, but in how they result, how they're perceived, how they live in our lives. The manifestation of fear can be a slap in the mouth. Well, he's just a scared little boy. And when he gets bigger, he's still just as scared, only now he's slapping you. Does that make sense? You got it? Well, if you got it, honey, they all got it. That's right. Manifestation. Okay. So it says this. It says resentment is the number one offender. So what we're simply going to do, we're simply going to follow directions on this inventory. And resentment is the thing, one of the things, not the only offender that takes people out of Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's the first thing we're going to look at, this resentment that shuts the sunlight of God out, that continues to hurt other people, and they describe all of that in here. They describe all of that. Resentment feeds from selfishness and self-centeredness. From that feeds fear. From that feeds sexual conduct. All of these things that are involved in. So they say there's 3 areas of our lives that should be approached in order that shut the sunlight of the Spirit off, that we quit hurting others and we quit creating our own problems. The 3 areas of life is resentment, fear, and sexual conduct. And they give us specific, understand this, that they give us specific directions for everything that we need specific directions for. Those things that they put on the board, those 12 steps they put on the board, those are not directions. Those are gas grills. Those are gas grills. You just accept that completely, huh? You don't even want to argue. I like this girl. Does she like this always? Just so agreeable? Really? Always. God. You come into Cleveland with me too. It's one that can't talk and one that says yes. I like that. If you buy a gas grill, what do you know for sure is going to be inside besides the gas grill? Instructions. Everything that you buy has a set of instructions to do it. And every one of these steps has a set of instructions to do it. And after we put every step together, the next step has another set of instructions. Everyone has. And we're all done with all these gas grills. What do? Start cooking. Yeah. Okay. So resentment. We're not going to do sexual conduct. We're not going to do fear. Put it right out of your mind. Don't even give a thought. Don't even give a thought. There are 4 or 5 columns in resentment. We're not going to do the other 4. We're only going to do the first one. We're going to do the first one.
Why?
Thanks, Pam. Simply because we're going to do one direction at a time. I can't tell you the trouble I had with an inventory. Man, I can't make amends. We're not asking you to make amends. We're just asking you to write down who's hurt you. I can't. No. Forget all of that stuff. Let's just do one direction at a time. Dumb guy. Got it? Dumb guy. Resentment. Who you resentful at? I don't know. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not sure to this day I know what a resentment is. I have heard it said that it comes from the Latin word e pluribus unum hemorrhoidus. I don't know what. Resentatoris. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. But it does say this. We ask ourselves, angry. How about angry? Can you understand that one? Yeah, I like that one. How about hurt? How about that? Yeah, I understand that. How about threatened? I understand that. How about burned up? Huh? We see this now. It makes sense. Resentment. I don't know. I hated a lot of people, but I wasn't resentful at them. How about sore? How about grudge? How about anybody's first name begins with mother? How about that? That mutt. Put him on a list. I'm not mad at that mutt. Put him on a list. Question, make sense? Yeah. So we got a list. We got a list of resentments. Watch this. I'm going to make a list. Tell me what I should get from the grocery store. Eggs? What else?
Yeah,
Milk? Bread? Butter? Dessert. What do we notice we do at listing, and always do at listing? Go down. That's exactly right. It's always a down. It's a list thing. It's a list. We're going to make a list. That means we're just going to make a list of who we're mad at, who are got a grudge against, who's hurt us, who we're burned up at, sore at, threatened at. That's all we're going to write that down. That's all we're going to do. Is nothing else. Real men. Real men. You ask them. New guys, I mean. Who are you mad at? I ain't mad at nobody. No, I believe them. I had no trouble with that. I 100% believe you. Yeah, nobody. Not a soul. Well, your ex-wife's coming over for the weekend. Look, put her on the list. Put her on the list. Comes the cops. Oh, put them on the list. Does that make sense to you? That's all we're looking for. It's just to, you'll see, you guys all do this. I mean, it's just like, this is a dumb guy thing. There are no dumb guys here. Make a list. Who's hurt you? My dad. Huh? So dad's top of the list. My ma? Absolutely. My brothers, my sister, the police, the judge. Who's hurt you? Who's hurt you? Who? IRS. Now, is that hard? See how fast you get there? Who's hurt you? Who's made you mad? Who's got you sore? The kids, of course. Of course. What guy ain't said? Oh, I wish they had retroactive abortion. Who's hurt you? Who you sore at? Who's mad at? Who's hurt you? Handsome? Oh, cousin. Cousin. You see how easy that is? This ain't tough. Give me one. Just one. The boss. The boss. One. The neighbor. The neighbor. With the dog? That guy. I know that guy. I got that guy living next to me. They must be cousins. Must be your cousin. Your cousin. Daughter-in-law. You understand, in a matter of 3 seconds, we got 9 names. Bing, bang, boom. This ain't tough. None of this is tough. Now, so you're mad at. Just write them down. Let's say you got 25 names. Let's say you got 25 names. Just 32 names. Why 32? I
don't know.
Because that's how many lines in a notebook sheet of paper. 32 makes everything easier. We can deal. What? I always say 25, but I tried it once. It's 32. But there's different sizes, by the way. Okay, we'll go 25. Done. 25. Yeah.
But it also says institutions and principles, not just people.
Well, did you give the IRS?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So whatever it is, institutions and principles are on this list. The reason I really don't touch this, and I mean this, is I have never, in all the years I have been doing this kind of stuff, working 4th steps and 5th steps, no one ever has an institution. Certainly none of them knew what principles are. But if you have them, put it down. You understand what I'm trying to say? Put it down. Whatever it is. You're absolutely right. That's the direction. It's as simple as that. Put it down. Now, how long do you figure it'd take you to write 25 people you're mad at? Hurt you. How long? What do you figure? 20 minutes? Half hour? 10 minutes? 11 minutes? How many? What do you think? 15 minutes. Wait, 15? Do we go 15 on this? Yes? No. Did I hear 20? 15. Okay. Sold. Done deal. No problem. 15 minutes. Was any of this too tough yet? Can you imagine? I can't do this. What if we've done hard so far? We're 1/5 done with our resentments. No. I know you can do that. The cause. Cause means what did they do? That's all it means. What did they do? Now, top of the list is my dad. My dad. What did he do? And I just write down what he did. That's all. I write down what he did. Here's the problem. There's not enough room on that one line. Yeah, it's a problem I run into. I would have a code, thing on the side. What do you call it on the side? Index? Is that what it's called? Or what is it? Yeah, 1 means, and then I would have a 1 over here, 2, and I'd put down 2, and 2 means something else. And I had so many that I had 1 red 1, blue 1, orange 1, and it turned out to be like, I can't do this. So to make it easier, to make it easier, if we got 25 names, let's get 25 pieces of paper. It's America. We got plenty of paper. Put one name on one piece of paper. Now we got what? Lots of room. Lots of room. Lots of room. Question? Just a dumb guy. Just trying to keep it simple. So we're going to write down, first thing off, one piece of paper, one name, my dad. What did my dad do? My dad. When I was 4.5 years old, my dad said I was so stupid I couldn't fix nothing and get out of the garage. My dad, and I just write down what he did. That's all there is. So it's whatever it is that offended me, hurt me, made me mad, made me angry, made me resentful. That's all there is. Just that. Now you notice we're just doing one list. When we're done with our dad, we go to the next page and do our mom. When we're done with our mom, we go do Cousin Albert. When we're done with Cousin Albert, we go do the neighbor. When we're done with the neighbor, we go do the IRS. You understand? One page, one piece of paper, plenty of room, no confusion. Any questions? Any questions? Okay. How long do you think it would take you to write down, just to sit down, pick up the pencil and paper and write down what 25 people did to you?
Maybe that's why they use Steps-1 somewhere.
Don't push me around now. Don't push me around. What do you think?
Maybe about an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. 25 names, 25 lists of offenses. Yes? No? Well, yeah. You're right. I'm not pushing you off. But see, so how hard? Yeah. You know how hard this is to do with you guys? And we would do is this for a new guy. Oh yeah, I never thought of that. Well, they told me to write down the worst things I did. Let's sift it through the bullshit, sister, and see what it says. Okay? Hour and a half? What do you think? Hour and a half? Hour and a half. Yes? No? Hour and 3/4? 2 hours. Hour and a half. Hour and a half? Sold. We're now at an hour and 3/4. We got 2/5 done with our inventory of our resentment. Make sense? Anything so tough so far? See, this is both.
No matter how long it takes.
No. That's right. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Now, it doesn't matter to you. Why?
I'm pathetic you're honest in doing it.
Because he's already done it. What matters is that when this guy here says, this is too much for me. I can never do that. We're talking about investing an hour and 3/4, pal. Really? Yeah. Why? But didn't we just describe that? You're absolutely right. There's no time limit. But we're trying to help me out. Huh? I can't. Honey, you have to speak. Yes. Courage to keep them going.
As you said earlier, as a sponsor to a newcomer, and he has indicated he wants to do his 4th and 5th step.
Yes.
Then you, by the power of example,
yes,
are going to sit with him.
Yes.
And help him to do that.
Yes.
Now, if it gets too much for him, then you know when to stop and say, well, we'll continue perhaps tomorrow night if you feel frustrated at this stage.
See how easy that is?
That's exactly what I
See how easy that is? Because that is a case of human understanding, which she doesn't have yet, because she's only sober a week. See that? I'm just kidding. I know I seen you sipping that dessert last night, but I was just kidding. I ain't going to tell nobody. We got the dessert police right back here. Okay, you're right. You're absolutely right. But you see how what we have learned now takes play into helping our new people? Everything that we have learned now takes play. It comes into play. The ripple effect. The ripple effect. Well, all we're doing is try to exemplify the simplicity of what we're doing. This is not a year long. Let's wait until we're sober a year. And I've heard this. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you. You'll be more honest in a year than you will now. Let's hope so. But you ain't going to make a year if you're a real alcoholic. Huh? What do you think? How do I know that? Says on book. Hardly any of us will stay sober a year. What it says. Okay? First column. No-brainer. No-brainer. We're taking from here and putting here. Right? That's all. Hardly any discovery. Second column, no-brainer. We're taking from here and putting it here. We're just writing down what we already know. The majority of us have sat in enough cells and enough waiting rooms and enough hospitals and enough places and already told people everything that we're going to put down on this paper. Let me tell you about Mama. You know, Mama, you've done that. You've said, no, not you, but you. Yeah, we're just taking it from here and putting it here. Does that make sense? That's all we're doing. Third column. Now we're just doing columns. You see, we're doing lists. We're listing. Third column. Affects my. This here, you got to use your brain a little bit. Like 1 and 1 equals. Simple as that. The nicest part about the third column. Multiple choice. They give you 6 or 7 things to pick from. Pick one. My attention to Mrs. Brown, his attention to my wife affects my sex relations, self-esteem, and fear. This guy, pick 3. Pick 5. The important point is that you know that you are going to ask yourself what area of your life is affected by the things that they did. That's all. Maybe more than one area is affected. And they give you 6 or 7 things to pick from: self-esteem, sex, relationship, fear, security, pride, personal relationships, and at the top, not on this list, is ambitions. Just pick one. Or pick 2. Or pick 3. Does that make sense? The important thing is that you are going to find what their relationship is with you. I love my wife tremendously. Yet she's on the list, and I find that she affects me with fear. She affects my security. She's got title of the house. She's pride. That doesn't sound like a very loving relationship. You know what I'm trying to say? Huh? I mean, that's all we're going to find out is their relationship to us. Any questions? Multiple choice. Third column. We just pick out one and put it down. Any questions? Let's go to page 66. Now, there are no directions here in what we're about to read, but I've got to stress this to you because this is one of the places where I really didn't get it, and I simply didn't get it because I never did this. I sat in those 3 columns and saying, what is this? I don't get this. How can I stay sober doing this? This doesn't make any sense. This is me. I never did this. Never turned a page. I pondered those 3 columns for years. I did years in the penitentiary just sitting there saying, what does this mean? What does this mean? And when you turn the page, it says, to conclude that Elder was wrong as far as we ever got. Yeah, that's all I'm doing is finding that they're wrong. That's all we're doing over here. There's hardly any discovery to that. That the outcome was that they continued to wrong us. Why? Because nothing's changed in this inventory. Nothing has changed. All we're doing is identifying the thing that shuts the sunlight of this power of the Spirit out. All we're doing is identifying the things that create our own problems. All we're doing is identifying things. There's hardly any recovery at all in the 4th step. A lot of honesty, but hardly any recovery at all. Let's go down to the bottom of the page. We turn back to the list. Now remember, there's so much reading inside here that's very important, and please read this. Of course, you've already done it. See what I mean? These guys ain't convicts. Well, some of you are. Where's the taper? Here he comes. Here's the convict. Look at him. Let him walk. It's a convict-looking guy. We turn back to the list again for it held the key to the future, and simply that means that what we've already got is the key to the future. It's nothing more than the key to the future because we're going to learn something from it. We're prepared to look at it from an entirely different angle, and that means we're going to change our thinking. We're going to change our perspective. We're going to change the way we look at what we've got written down so far. And we really haven't got nothing written down except people have been dumping on me like since forever. I'm a victim. Not me. I'm a perpetrator. I've never been a victim. And that, in its sense, is a great relief. We began to see that the world people dominated us, and they described to you why they dominate us. Because when we get mad at them, we shut off the power of God. When the alcoholic shuts off the power of God, he drinks. And when an alcoholic drinks, he dies. Maybe not quickly, but he dies. Okay, now that's what you should have read. In this state, the actual wrongdoings of others, fancied or real. And here's once again something that's important: fancied or real. Some of the resentments we have aren't really they're not real. They really didn't do that. It could be just our feelings. But whatever it is, you're going to decide that. That'll become clear. I don't even know why I'm mad at that guy. I've heard this 1,000 times. They should be mad at me for all the things I've done to them. Then why are you mad at them? I don't know. Well, we discovered why. Because it affects my pride. They hurt my pride, and that's enough. I hate Sylvester Stallone. Absolutely hate Sylvester Stallone. Have you ever met him? No. Then how can you hate him? I just hate him. I hate that Dago. I hate him. This is another Dago doing his talking. Let's write this down. So we're going to look at it from an entirely different angle. Here's what's our course. This is what it says. This was our course. We realized that people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick. You got that? We got a list of 25 names. And we're going to start looking at these people not as people who have harmed us, but as people who are spiritually sick. That's all. My dad. Never looked at him that way. I looked at him a lot of ways, but I never looked at him that way. Though we don't like the symptoms, and we got the symptoms right here. We got it down here. And the way they disturbed us, they, like ourselves, and remember that, they, like ourselves, there's specific directions are sick too. So this is what we're going to do with this information that we have already. We are going to ask God, this is a prayer, we're going to pray this prayer. God, show us, help me to show them the same patience, tolerance, and pity I would cheerfully grant a sick friend. This is a prayer. We're praying a prayer, 4-step prayer. 4-step. This is a column. This could be a column or not a column. If it's a column, it's a check mark. I always tell them it's a simple check mark. That's not in the big book. That's the only thing I ever add to this big book, is that simple check mark, so that you know you have prayed this prayer 25 times, once for every people. Who are we praying for? No, we're praying for us. We're praying for us. This prayer is for us because we cannot change them at all. This prayer is our change of thinking. We're going to express this change of thinking in a prayer, and a prayer as simple as this. God, help us to show them, these people who have harmed us, patience, tolerance, and pity, that it would cheerfully, remember the word cheerfully, it gets ugly here, cheerfully help us to grant a sick friend. When a person offended us, we said to ourselves, and I'll tell you something, what we're learning here is a procedure that we will use for the rest of our lives. This ripple effect business is going to go on and on and on. And if I'm walking on a promenade, walking down a thing, and the guy bumps me, bang. Get out of my way! I'm going to throw you overboard, you mother. Or I can look at him as a spiritually sick person. Got that? I can look at him as a spiritually sick person with patience, tolerance, and pity, and say, "Hey, I'm sorry I was in your way. Hey, let me see. What else does it say? This is a sick man. This is a sick guy. Not sick in the sense of well looking at sick, in the sense of sick looking at sick. And here's what it says: how can I be helpful to this man who's just injured me? And I can do that right now today because I've learned this procedure. Thy will be done. God, save me from being angry. Thy will be done. Make sense? This is so simple. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's unbelievable. Questions? The prayer. The prayer is for us. We pray this prayer 25 times concerning those people. God, let me look at them with patience, tolerance, and pity. This is possibly the first beginnings of any recovery towards better living we'll ever have. And this is something we will use for the rest of our lives. We avoid argument and retaliation. It's direct order. It's a direct direction. We wouldn't treat sick people that way. I'm going to stay out of all arguments and retaliations with everyone, simply because I wouldn't treat sick people that way. If I'm going to live the way God wants me to live, I'm going to quit being selfish and self-centered and demanding and get my own way, and I'm going to look at the people who live like that as nothing more than sick people just like me. Just like me. Mitchieism. Mitchie's wife went to have a baby. She's in the thing. She got the thing up. You know the thing? What do you call it? Stirrups? She's in the stirrups. She screamed. What's she screaming? Ah! Ah! I hate you for what you've done to me! Ah! I'll kill you, you! Ah! What does Mitzi do? It's okay, baby. It's okay. It's okay. Why? Because she's in the bed. That's why. Because she's in the bed. When they're in the bed, what? They're sick. They're sick. We know they're sick because they're in the bed. Take Mitchie's wife out of the bed, put her in the kitchen. 3 months later. Ah! Oh, I hate you! I'll tell you for what you've done to me! What does Mitchie do? Shut up! Wait a minute, same girl, same symptoms, same everything. She's just not in the bed. She's just as sick in the kitchen as she is in the bed. Agree? What's changed? Our thinking. We're going to treat her just as sick in the kitchen as we did in the bed. Any questions? Make sense? How does that happen? That's where this prayer comes in. I mean, why do they do that, or why do we do it? I don't know why they do that. It's something to do with estrogen, but I'm not sure. What? Why do we change? Because we have a set of directions that says we should. That's the only reason. There's always more reasons. Trust me, there is. But we're going to quit causing our own problems. We're going to start being useful and helpful to other people. We're going to put that third. Well, we're not. We're right there. We're almost right at where we're going. Right where you're going is where we're going right now. Right where you're going is where we're going right now. Here's what it says. Here's what it says. It says. It says. It says. We avoid argument and retaliation. That's what it says. It says we wouldn't treat sick people that way. Why? Because if we do, we destroy our chances to be useful, to be helpful. And why do we want to be helpful? Third step. Because we made a deal with God. You take away my difficulties and I will serve you. We started building an archway to freedom, and right now we're starting to walk through that archway. That's the key to it all, isn't it? Is that our whole job on the face of this earth is to be useful and helpful. Will I be more helpful 10 years from now than I am now? I think so. I think so. But the point is that we start to step somewhere. The journey somewhere starts to start right here. We're just reinforcing our third step. Any questions? We can't be helpful to all people, but at least God will show us how to take a kind and tolerant view of each and every one. Each and every one. A kind and tolerant view. I might not be able to help anybody. The greatest, there's a couple of ways to avoid argument and retaliation. A couple of ways. The first one is when she starts that, the best work for me is, you could be right, honey. You could be right. Make sure you say it as you're walking out the door, because you know what she's going to say. I am right, and I'll tell you something else. Yeah, okay, you could be right. Could be right. The second way, of course, is duct tape. No, on our mouth, not on their mouth. Yeah, on our mouth. So we avoid argument and retaliation that way. Unless she can't talk, and then you keep her around forever. And the third way, of course, is to ask God for help, to help us from getting angry and looking at the people who offend us as sick people. Any questions so far? This is pretty simple, isn't it? It's pretty clear what we're supposed to do. You can use a column or not use a column, but the column is nothing more than a check mark to indicate that we have prayed this prayer 25 times concerning everybody who's on our list. And we will use this format, this procedure, for the rest of our lives. For the rest of our lives. Take a kind and tolerant view of each one. Referring to our list again. Now we've got this list. This is our list over here. Referring to our list again. Putting out of our minds the wrongs others have done. That means we're done with the second column. Put that out of the way. Second column goes out of the way now. Just put it out of the way. You understand what they're saying? We've got a list now of names. Put what they did to us out of the way. Out of the way. We exactly look for our own mistakes. We want to know what we did to them. That's all we're going to do. Is we're going to make a list of the things that we've done to the people that are on this list. Just the names. Just the names. My dad. Here's my fifth step. My fourth step. My dad. What did I do to my dad that would make him tell me to get out of the garage? I was so stupid. What do you think? What do you think? Nothing. We're not in to find out what we did to make them do what we did. We're putting out of our minds the list of what they did. Do you understand that? We just read that. Putting out of our minds the wrongs others have done. It's not a tit-for-tat thing. It's not a tit-for-tat thing. We're just going to write down what did we do to them. That's all. Our mistakes. What'd I do? Stole my dad's truck. I did a lot of other things, but I certainly can't tell them in this group. I did all of these things. All of these things. That's all they're asking me, is to write that down. They're asking me also to find out where I've been selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and frightened. And that means I'm going to go and tag every one of these things that I did. Just like we did over here. Just like we did over here. These tags. This multiple choice. Well, we got another multiple choice here. I'm going to tag it. I stole my dad's truck. He's 14 years old. Stole his truck. Stole his truck. Was it selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, or frightened? Selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, or frightened. What do you think? Could have been all of them. But for me, and only for me, because I know what's going on inside, right? Very, very selfish. Because my dad was a working man, and I had 4 brothers and sisters. And when I took his truck, he didn't go to work that day. Who suffered? Everybody did. Want to know why? Because I wanted to drive the truck, and I never gave them a thought. Never gave them a thought. I found out, really, and it's easy to find out, just with my dad, that he didn't get no deal having me as a kid. He did not win no prizes having me as a kid. No blue ribbon boy here. I found out that I was very selfish and extremely self-seeking and extremely dishonest. Frightened was very elusive, but it's something we always are going to look at. And it's so important that we're going to do a whole other thing on it in a little while. Now, it says, though a situation was not entirely our fault, we tried to disregard the other person involved entirely. Disregard the other person involved entirely. I have a neighbor. Who's got the neighbor problem? He got up and left. I got a neighbor. Neighbor's got one of them little yappy dogs. What's them little yappy ones? Yeah, one of them little yappy chihuahuas. And every day she brings that yappy thing over to the front of my house and stands there.